Alright, on to my first review. This one's for Drake Thank Me Later. The album leaked a couple days ago, and today I just now heard about it, and I listened to it a couple times, and I feel I can make a very strong review for the album. But overall, Drake Thank Me Later is perhaps one of the most anticipated albums of the year, actually. After Best I Ever Had was one of his biggest singles and one of the biggest songs of last summer. A lot of people were waiting to see what he was going to do next, and were waiting for the actual album. And there was a couple pushbacks. It was supposed to come out in like November, and then December, and then March, and then May, and then now the release date should be June the 9th. I believe it was pushed up due to the leak. And he's not even hesitating about the push up for the album. But the last time we saw an album get leaked a while before it came out and actually ended up being successful was when Lil Wayne came out with the Carter 3, and Chuck T had released it because of what Lil Wayne said about mixtape DJs. He took offense to it, released the album, and leaked it. And the album was already out about good 2-3 weeks before its physical release date, and it still did well. Same with Lil Wayne's Rebirth album, though it only did a couple 100,000, even though it was bootlegged heavily and actually 500 copies were shipped off. The album still did pretty well for an album that happened to. So I do believe Drake's gonna do very well despite the leak and the push up for the album. So onto my musical analysis of this album. Thank Me Later is kind of a hit or miss. Either you like the album or you hate the album. See, something with Drake is he has kind of a monotonous style. Sometimes he has the same type of flow, but when he's not flowing, he's singing. And for some people who enjoy hip hop music, such as myself, maybe you just want to hear a straight hip hop album with just hip hop with Drake rapping the whole time. But he brings a little bit of versatility to hip hop. He sings, and he showed it on the Find Your Love song. And it's not the first time that he sung, because he sung on some mixtapes, but he's shown the ability to sing and rap, and now he's mixing them up in songs. But the album started off very well. Song with Alicia Keys, Fireworks, I thought was very good. And then the second song, Karaoke, was okay. And Resistance, I was a big fan of that song. I like Resistance. And Over was pretty good. Show Me a Good Time was pretty good. Up All Night was, I think we saw in Up All Night a little bit of lyricism from Drake. He had some pretty good lyrics in Up All Night featuring Nicki Minaj. Fancy, one of my favorites from the album. Fancy featuring Swizz Beatz and T.I. Good song. And number 8 was Shut It Down with the Dream. Shut It Down with the Dream was kind of a hit or miss, because there was no rapping in the song. It was just straight singing between kind of Drake and the Dream kind of exchanging, singing notes and stuff, and that's really what you get in Shut It Down. 9 was Unforgettable featuring Young Jeezy, That one has an Aaliyah sample from At Your Best, which was released in 1994. Unforgettable was alright. It was alright. And other than that, you had Light Up featuring Jay-Z, highly anticipated song from the album. Light Up featuring Jay-Z was pretty good. It was kind of a hit or miss song. And to me, the Jay-Z verse was a little bit disappointing in the song. But then again, maybe it was the beat that was over, because sometimes with Jay appearances, it really depends on the beat that he gets and how he kind of flows to that beat. And then after that, it kind of got a little bit dry after the first 10. Miss Me was alright, but it was another song where he kind of mixed it up, singing and rapping. And after that, there was, I believe, number I don't remember what number 12 was. Let me take a real quick look here. Number 12 was CeCe's Interlude, I believe. That was kind of him singing. Find Your Love was 13. Find Your Love, I do like the song Find Your Love. And 14 was Thank Me Now. So anyway, I'm just naming the songs off. But the whole album, I'll give the album about 3.5 mics. I'll give it 3.5 mics because of what was rapped. You know, what Drake rapped. Because really you can say this is kind of a pop record or R&B record as well, mixed with rap. It's all kind of fused together. But if I had to choose, I would choose So Far Gone over Thank Me Later. And with mixtapes and the mixtape circuit, artists are putting out songs that are a little more hip hop and less popish compared to the actual album, where the record execs get together and they decide, you know, what people are listening to, what's popular, and whatever. And I think that was the case with Drake's album, or the case with almost every album. I do think that Thank Me Later was a very solid effort from Drake. I do like the lyrics. I do like the fact that he does sing a little bit. You know, he sings his hooks, and he raps the verses and stuff. In some verses he sings, and then, you know, you kind of see a little interchangeability between the singing and the rapping. But overall, I just have to give it 3.5 out of 5. And pretty much I rate everything on a 5 mic system, similar to The Source or any other hip hop site. But I'm gonna give it 3.5 mics. But we do see a lot of potential with Drake on this specific album. I think we see a lot of potential. And I think the problem with this record is, personally, I don't have a problem with him singing. I don't have a problem with his singing, but I think that if it was just a straight hip hop record, and we all know that Drake has very catchy hooks and pretty good verses, some good metaphors within those verses. But if we had kind of an album that was similar to his guest appearances, then we could be talking 4.5, possible 5 mic album. You know, if he can stick to the metaphors, you know, for a 15-track album. But it did feel like there were a couple filler tracks on there. But overall, 3.5 mics out of 5 for Drake, Thank Me Later. Very solid debut effort. Should you buy it? Definitely, I will buy it. When it comes out, I will buy the physical copy of the album. So, anyway, thanks for watching. My name is Julian Williams, and I'm out.